Hello and welcome to A Homespun House. My name is Molly and I am the creator behind A Homespun House, and I am looking forward to chatting with you a bit today about all of the things that I have been up to. This episode is going to be kicked off by talking about a little bit of Homespun House news. We are moving to America in around 4 weeks. We currently live in Berlin, Germany, so we are currently European company. And we will soon be moving to America. Once we move to America, a Homespun House will reopen. The plan is early September. Would be great if it could be before then, but right now it looks like it's going to be early September, and we will no longer be stocking a Homespun House until then. So all of the yarn that is in the shop right now is what will be for sale up until the next 3 to 4 weeks at the most. The shop will definitely be closed. You will not be able to purchase any A Homespun House yarns, any A Homespun House products until we reopen in September, which is, like I said, the kind of date that we're imagining we'll be able to reopen. So all of the in-stock yarns are available for purchase until we close the shop. And we currently have 2 really fun clubs up for listings. We have the June Yarn and Charm Club, which has sold out. So right now it's just the June Yarn Club. And the clubs that I've dyed up for June, I would say, are probably 2 of my most favorite yarns that I've dyed for a surprise yarn club. We have the June Yarn Club, as I mentioned, and then we have the Plum Creek Yarn Club. And the Plum Creek Yarn Club comes with a 100 gram skein of fingering weight yarn and then a 20 gram skein of fingering weight yarn. You can do whatever you wish with it. I call it a sock set, but you could use it for a shawl or what have you. And another option is to get 5 20 gram minis to also do what you would like with them. And they are so beautiful. I'm really proud of the colorways that I dyed up for June. So those are still available. They will be shipping, I think it's on the 1st of June. I already have them dyed up. As I said, I usually dye up the yarns quite a bit ahead of time. So it could be that those are shipping in the end of May, this May. And then the final club that will be for sale will be just the July sock sets and the July minis. There will be no July Yarn and Charm Club for the month of July. So this June was the last possible time until we reopen to get that Charm edition. However, I do have still Harry Potter openings for July, August, and September. And this is a really special and different sort of Harry Potter yarn club. It's one that I've never done before, and that is because we're moving. I'm not able to ship out each monthly club installment individually. So that means that you are getting a parcel with 3 skeins of super secret surprise, never to be dyed again, Harry Potter themed yarn, and you're only paying for one shipping price, which is €6.50. I have a lot of people asking me or thinking that shipping from Europe is very expensive, and I know that people are really excited and looking forward to my move to America, especially the Americans, and being able to purchase yarn then because the shipping will be less expensive. However, shipping from Europe is so inexpensive, and especially at that €6.50 flat rate fee that we've been offering while we're here in Berlin, Germany. It's almost less expensive for me to ship to America than an American to ship to themselves. I think it comes to, right now, maybe about $7.50 or $8 for any amount of yarn, regardless of whether you purchase 1 skein or 15. It's €6.50. So yeah, I'm really excited about all of those clubs. Harry Potter yarn clubs are still open, and like I said, I think it ends up being a 14 euro cheaper of a price than it has been in the past. So you do save a bit of money, and the themes are so fantastic. I am starting to dye those actually today. So you get a parcel, and then each of the 3 skeins are individually wrapped. They'll have a little sticker on them that says July or August or September, and you get to open it at the beginning of each month or whenever you decide. I know some people have mentioned that they're going to open theirs all at the same time, which is of course acceptable as well. Throughout the year, while I've been dyeing up club yarns, mystery yarns, Harry Potter yarns, themed yarn clubs, never to be dyed again, I have always dyed up a few extra mini skein sets, etc. And I'm going to put up a special mystery skein listing. You don't know what you're buying, but you can decide if you want a sock set, a mini skein set, or a single skein. And some of those might even come along with a Sugar charm, a Simply Serving charm, and they will be at a discounted price. You won't know what you're getting. You will know what you're getting if you choose, like I said, mini skein sock set or single skein, but it will be a complete surprise. So that is one listing that is up in the shop currently. You can add it to your order, of course, and I'm really excited to send those out. So now on to what I have been knitting. I have one project that has completely stolen my heart, and this is a shawl by Melody of Bee Mandarines. I really adore everything that she designs. I was having a browse through Ravelry, and I was really wanting to cast on a new shawl. I know I already have quite a lot of shawls, but they're so much fun to knit, and I feel like tastes are changing so often, at least in myself, and I really fell in love with this shawl design. So I am currently knitting the Puma T Shawl by Melody of Bee Mandarines, and I'm knitting it out of a Homespun House yarns. The yarn, the pattern calls for 2 different colorways of fingering weight yarn, and I loved the sample that Melody knit. And so I decided that I wanted to knit something quite simple as well, and I decided to go along with gold stellina. I have never knit a shawl out of completely stellina based yarn, and I thought it would be really fun to choose very simple colorways that I could wear with quite a lot of different clothing. It's really easy to mix up with almost anything and just have it be a piece that I feel is very easy to throw on with whatever I'm wearing. So the first colorway that I am choosing to knit the body of the shawl with is Fresh Sheets, and I am pairing this with mohair yarn. This is our mohair silk yarn. It's a 70-30 blend of kid mohair, and then this is our merino gold stellina base, and it is so fantastic the way that the mohair really settles the gold stellina down. It makes it so the gold stellina isn't so, it doesn't pop out so much, and it really just calms down the look of the gold stellina, and I love the effect that they have together. So I'm knitting the body out of Fresh Sheets gold stellina and Fresh Sheets mohair, and then I'm knitting the border out of rose gold, and I'm again using gold stellina and then rose gold in the mohair silk. And I think that these 2 colorways pair together absolutely beautifully. I currently have this exact kit up in the shop for those of you who are interested in wanting to knit a Puma T of your own. So I am knitting these on my Haya sharps, which I just love, and the construction of this shawl design is really neat. I haven't knit a shawl in this way, but I really love the idea of how it's knit. It's simple, it's mindless, and it's very enjoyable. Lately I have just, I feel like most people who have knit with mohair on its own, or who have knit with mohair along with another strand of yarn that doesn't contain mohair, you probably get it. It's a little bit dreamy, magical, and I am enjoying so much knitting on this project. So you start down here and you work your way up, and it has these beautiful eyelets and garter stitch section, and I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but you can just see the subtlety of the gold stellina in there. It's definitely not overpowering, and I think that there are instances where you could be wearing it and you maybe wouldn't even notice that the gold stellina is there until the sun catches it just right. And I could definitely see knitting with a gold stellina and a mohair base again just because of this. I am really looking forward to seeing the way that the rose gold looks up the side of this. I really feel like I chose two colors that are just going to look really beautiful and suit me really, really well. So I'm looking forward to knitting more on that, zoning out while I'm knitting that. It's something that you don't even need row counters for. While there are those eyelet sections, you just have to count your little garter stitch rows, and Melody has written the pattern beautifully. I could not recommend it more. Go out, buy the pattern, use any yarn you would like, use some mohair. It's so fantastic. I believe that even if you don't want to use these colorways, I have quite a bit in my shop as well on other bases. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm knitting this out of in a Homespun House bag. This is on naturally dyed fabric here in Berlin, actually, Berlin, Germany. And yeah, I love this fabric. I made some project bags with it, and I sold some kits. I kept one for myself. And there could be a time in the future that I decide to make some more project bags, but I think that I will probably be making them on a lot more simple fabrics and special fabrics like this where it's hand dyed. This is a linen cotton, and boy, do I love it. I really like that fabric and that project. It's just, they're a match made in heaven. I finished Elodie's skirt that I showed you the last time that I podcasted, and I decided not to go ahead and make the suspenders on it. Did I say Elodie's? If I did, I mean Ruby's. She's my youngest daughter. It was her birthday this Friday, and it was such a fantastic time. We went away to Robert's family's family home, summer home, and it's about 2 hours away, and we have really good friends here in Berlin. They're a family of 6. They have 4 children, and they came to the summer home with us as well and spent the night, and we just had a really great birthday celebration Friday and Saturday. And then we had some other friends come and stay up Saturday through Sunday. The girls had really late nights every night. They're usually, we try to get them in bed around 7. And I don't think that they were asleep until 10:30, 11 o'clock, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So now they need to catch up. But anyway, so I made this for my youngest daughter's birthday, and it's really nice. You put a thick piece of elastic on the inside, and I did that. I measured her waist and chose a piece that fit. And now my oldest daughter really, really would like one. This is a pattern by Petite Knit. It's Nora's dress or Nora's skirt, and it's really great. It's really nice. I think it used about 1 1/3 skeins of yarn, and right now I can, as I'm holding it up and showing you, I can see that it is full of sand. It needs to be soaked a little bit and washed and rinsed and hung, but that's all right. It's foreplaying. I don't like the girls' clothes to be special or for special days. I want them to be able to play in them and get dirty, and we can wash them. I can wash them. So this is the shirt that I made for her to go along with her skirt, and she loved it. So it just looks really, really sweet together. I used a Patty Do t-shirt pattern. This is the Powell shirt. She's a German designer, but she also has her patterns, some of them in English. I would say half in English, the other half in German, but all of her newer patterns are definitely in both English and German. And I feel like a lot of German pattern makers, more so than American pattern makers, do a lot of jersey style sewing. I hadn't seen it until I moved to Germany, and it is a very common thing to make most of your clothes in Jersey, and especially for children. They're so comfy, cozy, and I find them very, very easy to sew. You just have to do a little bit of reading. Serger is your best friend. I don't know if I would even enjoy making clothing for children if I didn't have a serger. It's wonderful, and this kind of gave me the sewing itch again. So yeah, I made Ruby a matching shirt and skirt for her doll. I sewed Ruby a little Waldorf doll, 18 inches I believe she is, for her birthday, and I sewed her, I think, 3 shirts, a nightgown, a dress, a skirt, a pair of socks, and I'll have to show that to you the next time that we speak, because Ruby is at the Kita with her doll right now, wearing matching outfits. She has a little unicorn dress on, and her dolly has a little unicorn dress on, and I am so proud of this doll. It was so much to make. I have plans of making more, and that's kind of a project that I plan on working on as we're moving and living in America and settling down, finding a home. And I want to make it for Elodie as a celebration of her going into school this year. In Germany, it's a big, big celebration when children become of age to go to school. This isn't something that, as far as I know, is celebrated in America. I don't know any family or any person who has a school celebration for a child who is, entering first grade. And once we're in America, it's definitely something that we will do, because my husband is German and my children are German, and it's a celebration that we definitely want to keep alive. And it's a really cool thing, I think, about Germans is they find a reason to celebrate everything, and the celebrations are always big, lots of family, and I know Elodie is really looking forward to her celebration of coming into school, so we will most definitely be celebrating it, and I want to give her a Waldorf doll as her coming of age to be in school, as her gift. She has desperately been wanting one since she's seen Ruby's, and they've been taking turns playing with Ruby's, but it would be very, very nice if they each had one of their own. So I'll share with you that doll next time, and all of the clothes that I've made for her. The next thing that I finished is also another gift, and these are the socks that I have been working on for my Grandma Sue. These are the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas socks by Danielle George, and they could not be more beautiful. It was a really fun pattern to work on, one that I knit so many stockinette socks that I just fell into this groove where I thought that I can't knit socks with pattern on them. It takes too much time, too much mind space, and I still feel like that quite a bit. And I feel like when you see a pattern that has such a beautiful texture, such a beautiful pattern, just something going on that isn't just knit 2, purl 2, or moss stitch, some sort of ribbing, when you see something that has, these haven't been blocked yet, I'll probably block those today now that I have them out, but it has this beautiful fur pattern, this pine tree pattern, and then it has this trunk going down the leg. I just kind of thought, ooh, how am I going to find time to make these? And it was really easy. I didn't have to think a lot at all. I knit these out of, I guess I forgot to say, I knit this out of a Homespun house in our velvet colorway. This is just such a pretty colorway. It goes so well with so many different things, and I thought this would look really beautiful with Ruby. She has a really pretty dark blonde hair color, but I think that would look gorgeous with brown or black hair as well. And this is our DK weight yarn. Actually, I decided to knit these in DK weight on a 48 stitch count. The pattern doesn't have a 48 stitch count possibility, but it is very, very easy to adjust the stitches in order to get the same effect as the pattern when going down to 48. I believe I used a 3mm needle, And this is our Juniper colorway. It's just this really beautiful pine colorway, I think. This is also a colorway that would look, I think, gorgeous on most skin tones and most hair colors. So this is the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas socks. And I think I have all of the ends woven in it, it looks like, so I'm pretty proud of that. And these will be a gift for my grandma. Her birthday is coming up in June. So we'll be there for that, and that will be really, really exciting. And I have these, of course, in my Aldenwood craft, in my little fur bag, with my fir trees. I have been doing a bit of work on the subject of socks on Robert's socks. I have one finished, which I showed you last time. It looks like most of the ends are woven in, other than these top ones. And this is this is a similar colorway to Juniper, Frida and Slaptastic. And I don't think any of these colorways are available in the shop. I think I maybe have Slaptastic on BFL or Plump Merino, I'm not sure. It could even be DK. And Frida is not a colorway that can be dyed again. So, and then here I'm knitting on the second sock. I have these in a fantastic Needle Cozy by Little Bobbins, the same person who wrote the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas socks. And I already knit, I think last time I maybe just had maybe this much done. I finished the leg. I've knit all the way, I've knit the heel. I actually knit this heel different than the other one by mistake. It's extremely dense. I did a knit one, slip one, and then I did a purl one, slip one, or purl one, yeah, for the heel. Whereas generally when I'm doing my heels, I do a knit across when I'm doing the flap, and then I do a slip one, purl one, slip one, purl one until the end, and then I knit across. And I think because I did the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas socks, where she slip one, knit purls one, and slip one, knits one for the heel, I was just in that groove of doing that, and I hope it doesn't really affect the socks. So anyway, I'm knitting on the foot. I'm finished with the gusset decreases, and again, I'm looking forward to having these finished. I'm knitting these out of our MCN base, which is one of my favorites. Our Harry Potter yarn and Charm Club, I didn't mention, will all be dyed up on the MCN base. I've never ever done that before, because it is such a specialty yarn, and I am quite sure it is not one that I'm going to be able to restock when I'm in America. I cannot find an American company that stocks this exact MCN base. I know there are quite a variety of merino cashmere nylon bases from different undyed companies who are selling yarn for hand dyers, but that particular one I cannot seem to find anywhere. So I've definitely been stocking up on my merino cashmere nylon for myself. But I do want to point that out there for those of you who love Homespun House's merino cashmere nylon. The Harry Potter Yarn and Charm Club or Yarn Club, the charms are all sold out now at this point. But the July, August, September installment, the current listing, will all be dyed up on merino cashmere nylon. So it's going to be pretty exciting. The last thing that I have worked on and still needs a little bit more work, right? Yeah. Is my Little Cabins Pullover by Caitlin Hunter. And I knit this out of a Homespun House Comfort colorway. This is one of my favorite colorways. It is so gorgeous. I can't get enough of it. I think I could knit so many things in this colorway. So I knit this with Aran weight yarn, merino cashmere nylon. The pattern doesn't call for Aran weight yarn. I believe it calls for worsted weight. And I changed the needle size on this, the gauge on this. I have this knit at, I would say a tighter gauge than she would recommend. even though I'm using Aran weight yarn, I know the gauge that she had for worsted weight yarn was just a little bit loose, and I changed up the gauge as well for my garter stitch panels because they would have been way too loose, way too puffy, and I noticed that a lot of the pullovers that people knit in the little cabins had this huge puff sleeve effect. And I think that just has to do with your gauge changing up when you're knitting and purling, which is why often when you do a rib, you go down 1 millimeter in needle. And that's what I did for the garter stitch. So I do not remember at all what needle size I knit these on. I used Hiya sharps, and yeah, I would say I enjoyed knitting this quite a bit. The body was so easy to knit. It was completely mindless. It was just like the Puma T Shawl that I'm knitting, where you have a bit of rows where you don't have to think at all, and then you just have that one round where you have to think a bit. The baubles weren't that bad to knit, I would say. There was a round here right below the garter stitch panel where I think it was a bauble maybe every other stitch, and I took that out. I wasn't a big fan of the effect of a bauble every other round. It didn't fit my aesthetic, and I think that's the only thing that I changed. And I knit the neck, I think 2 rows longer than Caitlin suggests. So now all I have to do, it says to 3 needle bind off the sleeves underneath, but I'm going to do a Kitchener stitch for that, and then I just have all of my ends to weave in. I used 5 skeins of yarn. I have this ball left, 5 skeins of Aran weight yarn, and is that it? I thought I had more. But that must be it. So, and I can't wait to put this on and wear it. It's very comfy. It's quite oversized, but not in a huge, massive boyfriend sweater sort of way. But it's very, very cozy. I have already put it on, worn it around the house a little bit, even though I have huge holes in my underarms. But I just need to take some time. One evening I'll do that, and stitch the underarms together. All right, so I was very unsure if I actually wanted to cast on a Vertex Unite shawl. It is the Vertex Unite shawl, not the Versailles. I apologize to all of you who cringed as much as I did while rewatching that footage. I don't know how I got it in my head that it was the Versailles Unite shawl pattern by Stephen West, but I did. And I said it over and over and over. But it is the Vertex Unite. I will not get that wrong again. And Stephen West has had 25% off his patterns for a while. And I already own a lot of Stephen West patterns. So I think it's maybe just the past couple of days that he had a 25% off pattern. I didn't take advantage of it because I have all of the Stephen West patterns that I want right now at the moment. But he was just really posting so many pictures on Instagram. And I feel like the Vertex Unite one is one that he, talked about a bit, posted some pictures of a bit. I've noticed a lot of other Vertex Unites shawls popping up in my feed, and I have just been loving them more and more. So the last time we spoke, I really wanted to cast one on. I had yarn all caked. I had yarn all ready. I dyed up specific colorways for this shawl. And then I came across the Puma T Shawl by Melody of Bee Mandarines. My heart sank, and I decided I needed to knit this, and I was not going to knit the Vertex Unite, even though I dyed up special yarn for myself. So this is the yarn that I dyed. I have Fresh Sheets, Sunny, Deegan, Whale Belly, and Peony. And after having all of those beautiful Vertices Unite shawls pop up in my feed, I have decided that I need to cast on this shawl. I know I'm already working on another shawl, but it is just such a cool looking shawl. I feel like it is such a wearable piece, and I think it will be really fun to knit. I enjoy knitting Stephen West's patterns so much because they're often these little puzzle quilt-like pieces, patchwork pieces that you put together, and you're kind of doing new techniques, new textures. The Vertices Unite is, I think it's pretty much garter stitch all around, so there is no real new texture. But because of the colors that I've chosen, I get to play with color quite a bit, and I think that that will make it a really fun piece to work on. That, and I'm using my Dale base, which is so different. It's from the same company that I get my cashmere from, my merino cashmere nylon, and it is such a special yarn. The animals are taken so well care of for my Dale and my cashmere. I just feel so good about this yarn, and I love knitting with it. It's so spongy, it's so soft, it's non-superwash, so you can't wash it in the machine. And it really feels like anything else. It's not toothy, I would not say at all. It's just a really soft, magical, non-superwash yarn. If you have not knit with my Dale base before, I say get your hands on it. And I think there are maybe 2-3 colorways of Dale left in the shop other than my Vertices Unite kits, and these are currently up in the shop. There is quite a handful of these, so if you want one, get one. You don't have to race for it, but yeah, I think it's going to make a really great Vertices Unite. You could make a striped pullover with this, but I think it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. I think those colors are just going to be amazing. So some other colorways that I wanted to show you are singles in the shop, because I have some singles in the shop and I don't talk about singles that often. And I really love them, and I want to start knitting with them a bit more. I feel like for some reason in summer, the singles bug really itches, and I want to knit with singles more. So I have this whimsy colorway. It's one of my favorite whimsies. And then I have hopscotch. I knit Elodie a pullover out of this colorway quite some time ago. I can't remember when I knit that. For me, quite some time ago means a couple of months ago. So there's that. Hopscotch also goes really well with this whimsy colorway. Whimsy colorway means it's just a one-of-a-kind skein of yarn. I put it in the pot. I, on a whim, just put different colors inside and let my heart and mind dye exactly what it wanted to dye, with no restrictions, no necessary story other than the way that I was feeling and the colors that I wanted to use at that time. And I don't write down the formula at all afterwards. So yeah, I really love those. This is my favorite single in stock right now. This is Rhythm is a Dancer, and I love all of the colors that this has in it. This is one that I wish was not a whimsy. I would love to recreate this. And this is Double Dare. Almost all of these colorways that I'm showing you are available on, I think I might even have some Double Dare and merino cashmere nylon, to be honest. Merino cashmere nylon is very, very low. I probably have, I don't even know, 20, 30 different skeins of merino cashmere nylon left on various bases. Yeah, so I have most of these available on BFL, Plum Merino, Soft Sock, Singles, Gold Stellina. I even have some super chunky, really fun yarns and DK. So then here, oh, these look really nice together. This is Berry Picking right here. So Berry Picking, Rhythm is a Dancer, Double Dare. And then I have one of my favorites, Indy. This is a new spring colorway. Here is Bright Eyes. Those look really great together. But Indy is so pretty. And I have Obladi. Robert skeins up all of my yarn for me. And he does such a good job. I feel like skeining yarn is so difficult. And the first skeins that he skeined up for me, oh my goodness, they had like a huge end hanging off of them. They were quite hilarious. If some of you purchased my yarn at the beginning of the year, you would have seen those big pieces at the top, the skeins. But he's gotten really, really good. He skeins labels. I put the stickers on most of them. But yeah. So those are really great. I also have a really, really fun one that I've had started to dye up before I decided that I wasn't dyeing anymore. Catching Fireflies. And I love this one for the summertime. It's really, really pretty. I think this one I might just have available on the shop in Plump BFL, Gold Stellina, and DK. I think that's all that I have available for Catching Fireflies. That one's been selling pretty quickly, but that's what's still available left in the shop. And I really cannot believe that we're moving soon. It seems, Robert and I were talking the other day, and it really seems unreal. It hasn't hit either of us yet. Ruby doesn't really understand. She's my youngest daughter. She just goes with the flow, and I think she'll be happy. And Elodie is excited about it. She has mixed feelings, but she rarely has voiced those. I think I've heard her say once that she feels about it, but she's mostly very excited. So we're definitely looking forward to it. It will be a lot of fun. It was really great chatting with you today, and I'm sure you can hear the birds chatting along as well. I look forward to seeing you next time.